all for tuning in. This is Iman and
Selena.
together we make you plus happy. Each week we bring you someone who challenges us to define success and happiness on their own terms with a dose of laughter.
Remember to like and subscribe to the You Plus Happy podcast. You can also follow us on Instagram at You Plus Happy.
Hey, Selena.
Hola.
Hola. So anything fun or exciting that happened this week?
Well, I was just telling, I wasn't going to talk about this, but since it came up right before we were talking, now listen, I'm not saying that I'm some fitness guru or whatever. However, dry February is paying off, y'all. So I haven't been drinking. And I but I walked past the mirror and I had like a little crop top shirt on because it was just around the house. However, I caught a glimpse of some abs trying to come through.
Hey.
I saw a little line. I saw some lines in the middle and the side. I was so hyped. Like, I wasn't even going for abs. I was just going for like not being overweight no more. And so I was like, oh my God, abs. I texted my brother, I texted my homeboy. I was like, y'all want to see some abs? And they did.
Did they respond though?
Yeah, they did. They were like, wow, congratulations. Like everybody was happy for me because they know how hard I work, how much sacrifice. But I was honest. I was like, it's only from a certain light, a certain angle. You know what I'm saying? It's not like, they're not just there, you gotta look closely.
Lighting makes a difference,
Lighting makes a huge difference. Luckily for me, it's when the sun hits them. They start. It's crazy. It's the natural sunlight. Come down. They're not abs like what you picturing, like on TV, but there's something. Okay. And
shout out to Selena's abs.
I have a community supporting me on my journey.
That's good. I'm glad dry February is paying off. You're already seeing results because we're not even 2 weeks. Well, I guess we're almost halfway through, but that's good.
That shows you what the alcohol, how much I was drinking with my wine. But I ain't gonna lie to y'all. March come back, these abs gonna be gone. So I'm gonna be drinking. All right.
I've been drinking.
That's what I'm be doing. So enjoy it while it lasts. Anyway, how about you?
So my news is not it's not exciting at all, actually. So anyone that's been listening to the show, you know that I've been able to go out and explore because Australia has been free of Rona my state has been free for the last 3 months, but now we are officially back on lockdown as of yesterday. So yeah, that's where I'm at right now. But I will say, I've been previously when we were on lockdown, I was a lot more focused on doing stuff at home. Whereas as soon as I got some freedom, I was like, all right, go, 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 go. So despite not wanting to be on lockdown, I think it's going to help me refocus and slow things down a little bit. Trying to see the light at the end of the tunnel.
Of course.
But yeah, I was not happy when I got that news. But
quick side note. What you say? I'm sorry.
I'm gonna make the best of it.
Yes. Quick question. Do they call it state in Australia? Because you said they closed down my state.
Well, so and I didn't know this till I moved. I know this sounds really dumb, but so Australia has just like the states. Like, you know how we have all the different states. So Australia is the same. So I'm in the state of Victoria.
Okay.
Where there's Sydney and New South Wales and different states within. So my state was free of viruses for quite a bit.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't, and it's ignorant on my part, but I didn't know because they always call America the states. So I thought we were the only ones with city and states.
Little states, yeah.
I didn't know what they call them, but
I'm
if you don't ask, you won't know.
Yeah. it's so crazy because I'm like, I love to travel, but I'm really bad with geography. So
Yeah.
like even knowing like where things are in relation to, I'm just like, oh, I've been there, but
I listened to Elvis Duran, and I did want to just bring up real quick. I thought he brought up a really good point on the show this week about lockdown, because I know you said when you got the news you were disappointed. That is like some people are exploding, and it seems random, but it's been a buildup because we've been going through this for a year now.
yeah.
So if anybody feels, and I had to tell myself that too, like, how is this affecting me? Because I try to ignore it, but it does affect me. So if you're feeling overwhelmed or stressed, just process it. So you don't
Yeah.
blow up at somebody or punch somebody or run your car
I
into
was the one
someone.
person I punch. Yeah, no, it's fine. But yeah, I think every time we get like a little dose of freedom, because each time it's a little bit longer, I think it's harder the next time, if
Right.
that makes
Yeah,
sense. So
that's how I felt. They shut down my class I was taking. All right. I remember that day. I was very frustrated, but it's okay. I had some wine that day, like I'm gonna do in March. So, so this week we have someone I know very well. I tried to answer all his questions for him.
okay. I'm like, let him answer for himself.
I basically was interviewing myself. Mitchell Paschal, he's a poet and performer. Writing became a hidden gem that helped him transcend into a world rooted in the pursuit of love. It was through this gift that he not only found comfort while walking his path, but documented truths that could benefit many. His book, Born Behind Bars, is a collection of essays, quotes, journals, prayers, and poems compiled over 25 years. You can find his book on Amazon or Barnes and Nobles. And we're going to put the links in the show notes. And again, it's called Born Behind Bars. And without further ado, we welcome Mitchell. All right. Yay, Mitchell's here.
Yay, what's good?
So we're just starting off with your book, Born Behind Bars.
Yeah.
I know it's like a compilation or of all your poetry throughout your life, right? So how did you get started writing? What made you want to do the book?
So I've been writing since maybe elementary school, and it was always something that I did just, for therapy, self-therapy, a lot of thoughts on my mind. Um, and then in middle school, I had a teacher who kind of like really, really pushed it and motivated me to write, to go even deeper. And so I say I probably got serious from like middle school up and throughout my life. And I've just always written down my collective thoughts, how I felt about society, women, things we all deal with as teenagers and just coming of age. And then I think around 2014, well, first 2012, I had a real like spiritual awakening.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of stuff that would come to me in dreams or meditation, I would write down. So there's a bulk of my book that was written between 2012 up until now. And 2014, I was like, damn, yo, like I got a lot of stuff that I can really put together in a book. And originally the book was going to be called Healing Through Revealing, or Healing in Revealing, or Revealing Through Healing. And I was just playing with that for a while. And then I was like shaking, not stirred. And I was like, man, that sounds good. So I just, kept on writing. I read through the things I had, and I realized there's still things that I feel like need to be touched on from a man's perspective, and just to share with the world, things that I've overcame that I felt like could help other people. So I met just the universe. God brought this editor into my life. I've never met her. She's from New York, and she's self-published as well. And we just kind of just talked on the phone for a while, and she gave me some different ideas, and we just, formed a book together within the last year and a half. And there you have it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, that's awesome. So you mentioned you were like trying to figure out the title. How did you decide on Born Behind Bars? Like, what was that?
I'll be freestyling a lot, right? With all my friends and stuff. And then bars is just like a play on words, because I've always felt growing up in Baltimore, well, growing up in Baltimore, then on top of that being Black, I always felt the effects of oppression and just feeling restricted, constricted, trapped. And so I was like, you know what? That's tight, yo. Like I felt in prison, but I got bars too. So I felt like, and then like visually, this is my son actually. This is little Mitch.
Oh wow. Okay.
Oh wow.
Looking at the copy I have here.
Yeah. So visually, I was like, I just really wanted to give a message, and like you can see, man, I'm breaking all this stuff down. I wanted people to do it on their own, but like
Break it down.
he's surrounded by darkness, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then it's just this little bit of light that's touching him, and then there's like writings all on the wall. So I've always felt like trapped, but I always felt like God had a hand on me too. Like there was always some higher being or just calling that was pushing me out of the dark and into the light, despite how trapped I felt. And so Born Behind Bars is basically that. Like, even though I was born into a troubling situation, or anybody's born into a troubling situation, you can still, find your way out. You still find your light. So yeah. And then it's a lot of poems. I got poems in there, and I got journal entries dating back from like 96. But it's bars in there too. So
Bars.
Bars.
Me and Mitchell joked about, I talked to him recently and we were joking about being Baltimore survivors. So when you said you were like brought up Baltimore, I just thought about that. Because it's Baltimore's a wild place. It ain't all bad, but
Baltimore was like really dope back in 2000, early like 90s, 2000s, man. It was a good time. I always say, like, when they had the show The Wire, I was like, yo, that's not just what Baltimore's about. Like, we had some good times, yo. Like,
yeah,
we had some really good times. We just knew where not to go and where not to be at a certain time. But if you knew what to, you know what I'm saying, if you knew how to move, you was gonna have a good time, man. So
yeah.
Yeah. You got the Baltimore. I don't hear it so much with Selena, but I don't know if it's because I've known her for so long. But I hear the Baltimore accent with you.
You know what? It really kicks on when I'm around other Baltimore people. So the fact that Selena's on here, she's bringing it out of me.
It's my fault. I'm surprised that your Baltimore accent is still so like prevalent, because you've been gone forever. Like Mitchell's been gone from Baltimore for so long. I'm surprised you even had some of the slang from the 99 and the 2000s. I'll be like, what? But along your journey, like I know you were like writing to, you said it was therapy and all. Was there a time when you felt like, this is a big question, but like challenges you had to push through, and like how the poetry helped you get through it?
Oh, okay. So there's I don't know what to call them. I don't know what you would call them in the book, but basically there's been some very trying relationships I've been through over the years, and I'm a very sensitive dude, right? So I'll be having a lot to say. So rather than I guess flood a person's phone with text message, I'll text it out like a whole story about my feelings and what I've been going through, and then I'll just save it in my notes, and I'll go back to it like a few months later, and like, damn, like I really got through that. You know what I mean? Like, and so in those moments, Selena, like, yes, that really, really helped. Because a lot of times when you really feel down and out about something and it's weighing down you, it's just, you just need to get it out of you. And if you don't have anyone to talk to directly, the best thing you can do is write it out. So that's how poetry and them text messages, or even like back when I was on Facebook, I would write long ass fucking, messages about life and what I was feeling, like being so vulnerable, So yeah, that's how it's helped me get through some very, very trying that, and just crying.
I mean, you got a good cry. You need that every once in a while.
Yeah.
Was there, let me go to a little bit off script, but is there someone in your family or someone that you knew that was a writer, or did you just naturally from when you were young was like, I like writing? Yeah,
it's a God-given gift. No one that I knew around me wrote. I I will say this. My grandmother was a school teacher, right? And she raised me, her and my grandfather. So when it was snow outside, she wouldn't let me, like, we wouldn't have school, but she wouldn't let me go outside and play in the snow until I read a book and did a book report. So I feel like that, like, she was some like Father Joe Jackson 5, you know, when it came to like reading and writing. And so I feel like that kind of like I give tribute to that, encouraging my imagination and even my writing skills. But there was no one direct that was in my life that kind of like, oh yeah, you should be a writer. It's just something I picked up and fell in love with.
But how did you get introduced to poetry, Sarima?
I swear to you, yo, it's just always been there.
Okay. No,
like, I was writing songs with Nikki when we was 10 years old.
Oh, and then the poetry's, Nikki's his sister, who's a friend of mine. So did the song, like the lyrics, did that transition into poetry? Is that just how it came about?
I think the song, like, okay, so the first writing I did was probably like these little songs, you know what I'm saying, when we like 9, 8 years old, about a girlfriend I had in elementary school. But then I'm trying to think, like the first poem I wrote. It had to have been like 10, 11 years old. And I don't know, yo, I just did it. I just did it.
Yeah.
And then I got good at it, you know? Yeah. But like I said, in 6th grade is when I picked it up a notch and I started getting celebrated for it. That was when I was like, oh yeah, okay, like it's gonna give me some attention. Like I'm actually good at it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's the beauty of poetry, because it sounded like you were just writing down your feelings and your thoughts. And it's like anything could really be poetry. So it's like, that's dope that you kind of transition that to be like, oh, how can I use this?
Right.
And you know, that's your skill. So I guess just kind of going off of that, was there, because you said there wasn't anyone in your life that was a writer or poet. Was there ever anyone that pushed you to do something else? And you're just like, no, like this is my calling. This is what I want to do.
Well, other than, I never really paid any attention for what, like serious attention. Like I said, it was more so for me. My passions in life were football and acting. Like that's what I woke up thinking about more consistently throughout life. Acting and football. Poetry and writing was just, you know, what you do for pastime, you know? So I went to the School for the Arts. I studied theater. And simultaneously I was playing football for, like, you know, youth leagues. And then I realized I wasn't getting any taller. And I was like, you know what, let's let this football go. Let's focus more on this acting career. And that was what I wanted to do for the longest. So like my whole, like, all right, check this out. So my whole purpose in life has always been to help others. I feel like everything I've ever done has always, you know, I've always been attracted to a way that I can help the collective. My first job was in Baltimore when I was like 14, 15. I worked for this organization called Reading by 9. And what we would do, we would come together and create all these different like stepping shows or songs to help get people's attentions out on the streets in Baltimore, to get surveys on how many kids were reading by the age of 9. And then we would take that information, come back and have discussions and have like a program where we could go to different schools and facilitate in the school boards and let them know, like, all right, this is the data we have. This is what we need to do to pick up the numbers because kids are not reading by the age of 9. And that's like, that was my first job and I loved it. And so even when I was an actor, you know, you studying theater, I was like, okay, how can I use this to help others? Like, and so like a lot of the stuff you'll read in my book, it talks about how like me just manifesting, like becoming a figure or taking a platform where my influence can motivate or liberate others. So writing, it's the same thing. It went from me just doing it for myself to looking back and like, all right, some of this stuff is purely from me, from my heart, but some of this stuff is also delivered to me from God, and I really need to share it. When I first realized the power of it is when I was back home in Maryland from 06 to 07. And I went to like one of my first poetry. I've never performed poetry ever in my life. But I went to Philly because one of my homeboys from high school was throwing on these shows up in Philly. And I didn't even have the poem memorized. I was up there reading it from the paper. But I had some shit to get off my chest. So I'm out there performing, and then this dude walked up to me, and I could just see in his eyes, he was like, yo, everything you said to me, I just went through. And just hearing you say it, like, really gave me a release. So it was that moment I was like, damn, yo, like, this is beautiful. You know what I'm saying? And it just connected. It connected with who I was and all that I want to do in life. And so, you know, I always kind of kept that in mind through the years when I was writing. You know what I'm saying? Did I answer your question? I'll be talking.
You did. But that's no, that's dope. That I had a follow-up question, but then it got lost somewhere in the mix. So I was trying to keep it. I don't know if you saw it. It was like,
asked me if there was something that someone wanted me to do that I was like, no.
Yeah.
It's hard to listen and keep your follow-up question in your mind. You know what I mean? Because you can't focus on that follow-up question or you won't be listening. I know how it is.
I was trying, I tried really hard. It was
the only thing that I ever, like, there's never been anything that people have tried to coax me into doing that I did. Because I've always been like this rebellious person all my life. Like, and Selena, I'm the only one out here. I'm dolo out here. I don't have no family, but the family I created, my kids. So I've always been rebellious in that sense. Now, there's been things that surprisingly God told me not to do, and I did. Like, I know in my soul, like, yo, I really shouldn't be doing this right now.
Yeah.
Fuck it. You know what I'm saying?
Our own free will. And I think, yeah, you hear it, you feel that nudge that's like, no.
But it seems like it's gonna be so much fun though.
Right. I'm gonna do it anyway.
Right.
Gosh, darn it. And I will say, side note, I did think about this while you were talking. I have seen Mitchell perform, and I forgot where it was. You were in Baltimore, and Nikki, I don't think I had met you yet, but it was like one of the festivals they have down here in Baltimore, like in the summertime. Yeah, it was like old timey, like a different time. It was a period piece, I guess.
Yeah.
And I will say you were good. And me and Darcel was like, I don't know if we want to go see him. We worried he's gonna be bad because Nikki kept hyping you up, and I was like, if he bad, girl, you like. And so and then we saw you. We were like, wow. And that's what me and Darcel was saying. We had never seen you or met you, so we didn't have anything.
So that was your first time seeing me. Was on stage.
Yeah, and I was like, wait, I was like, that boy good.
Thank you, Selena.
But we said it like behind your back, and we didn't even say it to Nikki, so that's how you know it was real, because you wasn't nobody there to impress or say, oh yeah, your brother's good. Like,
like, oh, I loved it.
It was amazing. So it was no, but I thought it was everybody that day. I think I remember like 3 people that were really
It was at Morgan, right?
I don't know. It was the warm outside, like I wish it was now, and it was in Baltimore. But it was really, really good. So my point of saying that though is saying, like, I know from experience that you're a good performer, and I've experienced it. So
I appreciate that. And Selena performs too, though. You know that, right?
I know.
Okay. We went to the poetry lounge out here in LA, and she did her thing. I remember that, yo.
I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Oh man, I forgot about that. That was the first time I did poetry in public.
I remember.
Oh my, yes.
Wait, how long ago was that?
2012?
Probably like 13, yeah.
2013, one of those years.
Okay.
When I was very, very, very young. No, and I forgot about that. Thanks for reminding me of that. I'm just performing.
I know one of us got it recorded somewhere in the cloud. We're gonna find it.
I didn't have a cloud back then. I had an Android, baby boy.
Oh, we gotta find it.
I had an Android. I don't know what you had. My texts were green, okay? But so switching a little bit, who or what has been your biggest motivation to keep going? I know we're mainly talking about the book today, which is important, but you're also a performer. You also act. What keeps you going in all of that? Because that's taking on a lot.
My kids, I think physically, and then God. Like I really have a real good awareness of God and who God is in my life. But like my kids, man, I think about my kids and I be like, yo, they really kind of like hold me together. I really feel like, man, I was watching Les Miserables years ago, and I had one of my moments at the end of the movie where the constable, the cop, realized like, damn, I've been wasting my whole life chasing this guy, and it's really not what I supposed to have been doing. So in that moment, it was raining. I went outside and stood in the rain, and I was like, yo, if I didn't have my kids, I would be a nomad. I would really like no one would ever see me. I would like, no, I would be like, I'd probably be somewhat reckless for a long time. You know what I'm saying? Just because that's that rebellious spirit in me. And I really feel like in one of my past lives, I made an agreement with myself, like, all right, yo, this next time around, you need to have some kids to hold yourself together. So like that, you know. And
this is you not rebelling? I know, Mitchell, this is you not rebelling? Oh my God.
He's like, I don't know what that is.
That part, exactly. Like, you have no idea.
I don't want to know. Listen, the heck?
Yeah, so yeah, my kids, my daughter, my son, and God, like, you know, because you know what? I always go to like when I'm in like my darkest moments, I'll be thinking about other dark moments that I've had. And then like God pulled me out of. I'm like, damn, yo, like if I got through that, if you let me get through that, all right, I gotta keep going, yo. I gotta keep going, man.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I recently had like a revelation. I think it was like in the last 6 months or so. And it was like, if I have to, in the bad moments, I have to remember that this is a season. I'll get past it.
Yeah.
But it's only but it's hard for me. It was really hard to remind myself of that in those moments because you're so upset, and it's like I have to just have that voice that's like, Selena, you're gonna. It's a season. Everything, even the good times, they're gonna pass. The bad times gonna pass. So we
were just talking about that.
What you said?
We were just talking about that. You really put that into my head the other day. Like she beat me over the head when I was like, yeah, she's so right.
Yeah, and it's like. So yeah, that's something I have to remind myself of. Like, this is just temporary. Everything's temporary. That's that's the best way to sum it up. And I think we forget that in those bad moments. And that's when we get lost in it. And it's that domino effect.
Yeah.
And it's like you get sucked deeper into it.
Yeah.
So not to be like too heavy, but I think it's a good reminder.
Absolutely.
It's only temporary, y'all.
It will pass.
What's that song? Trouble only lasts for a while.
Oh, singing ain't your thing now.
Okay.
You got a lot of feelings. We found the area where it wasn't. You stick to rapping.
You know the song I'm talking about though, right?
No, because
you know the song I'm talking about. Trouble only lasts for a while. Something like that.
It's like an old school song, right?
Old school, yeah, she knows. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. I'm not being professional at all. I'm sorry.
You're like, no.
It's all good.
I guess switching gears a little bit. So we focus a lot in society about our accomplishments, success. Was there ever a time along the journey where you felt like you failed or that you learned from a failure?
Oh, a lot of times. Many.
It sounds like the rebellious thing has probably kicked up a few times.
Yeah, man, I failed a lot. Trying to think of what big failure I'd like to share with you guys. I got locked up. I made a big mistake in life and I got arrested and I was looking at like doing a year, but God saved me from that, got me out on work release. And it was in those moments that I was like, while I was in jail, like, all right, what am I going to do? Because my life is about to change forever. What am I going to do? And I was like, man, like I still, because I was like, okay, I'm gonna be stuck in LA with no money, with a felony, like, and like up until that point, my life was like climbing. I had just spent a year in Maryland on the East Coast, like like accomplished all my goals in a year. Just went dumb hard. I booked a national commercial. I did like 6 plays. I had potential agents and managers looking at me in LA. Just like my life was climbing. And then I did what I did. And so like that, it was all taken away from me. And I was like, well, I need to still stay, because at the time my son was in Baltimore. I mean, in LA. I was like, I need to stay in LA. I can't leave and go back. And like I failed. And that's when I was in jail. I was like, all right, what am I going to do to sustain? And that's when barbering came into my mind. I figured, I wanted to do a job that would allow me to have flexible hours, and, be with my son and still be able to audition. Because before that, I was working at group homes, and I work overnight, so I could audition during the day. But with a felony, you can't work with kids no more. So I fucked that up too. So like that was yeah, that was the biggest fail for me. And then I was telling Selena, we talked recently, like that mess up. It took me since 2000. It took me about 10 years to fully like really recover from it, mentally, circumstantially, financially, just everything. So yeah, but I'm there though. I did it.
You did it.
Persevered.
Wow. That's a big one. It's like I can't jump right back from that. I let that sit in, because that's huge to come back from.
Yeah.
So switching gears. So having said that, this is a very different question.
No, it's fine.
But having said that, what does success mean to you now? What's your definition? How do you measure it?
Me plus happy equals success.
But what makes you happy?
Just being comfortable with myself. In the last few years, I've realized, like, okay, I've mastered loving kids. I've mastered loving a woman. Okay, like, damn, like, but I don't know what it looks like or feels like to love me. And I took some time off to really discover those things, like really be alone, and to operate in that space of not wanting another person in my life, to be single, and just discover things that make me feel good on an individual level. Because I really had no idea. And finding confidence, you know what I'm saying, within myself, with no outside sources of validation or approval. Those things make me feel successful. Because so much of my life I felt bombarded with trying to meet other people's standards, status quos. And so like to graduate into being my own person and being comfortable with myself, to me, that's one of the biggest success in my life. I mean, the book is great. My kids are amazing. I could book a national commercial tomorrow, a movie tomorrow, but like just really loving myself, that's a success.
Yeah.
And I'm still working on it. I'm still, there's still ways to go, but I feel more confident within myself and comfortable with myself than I've ever felt, but it took me wanting to do that. It took me acknowledging that I needed to do that.
Yeah.
That's so important. I feel like so many people don't know how to be alone and don't know how to, I just recently had a conversation with someone, and they're like I get anxious when I'm not around people. And I was just like, okay, we need to like unpack this and see what this is. So the fact that you were able to be like, this might be uncomfortable, but this is what I need in this moment, and like building that relationship with yourself. That's that's so important.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And the when you say this is still in progress, it's still a process. That made me think of well, if you were in a relationship with someone else, it would still be a process and in progress. Like you don't get in a relationship with someone else and say you love them or they love you, and then that's it.
Right. No,
like
no,
it's
no,
still it's always, you know, a growing thing. So I think that's something to take away. Like when people say, "Oh, I love myself. I have this confidence now." Well, it's still, you still have to nurture it constantly. It's not just like I hit this mark and I made it. No, sweetie, I read in a book, 10% Happier. He was like, your demons are out in the parking lot doing push-ups. So, and I was like, where's the lie? Because you be feeling so, and not saying that will happen to you. I'm just saying, it just hit me like, yeah, but you always have to foster that and make sure to keep it consistent, like any other relationship.
right.
Shit.
But so many of us operate in life and not even aware of that level of work that needs to be done. They're not even conscious of it. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like I feel like I've come into conversation with people where what we're saying right now is a foreign language. You know, like
but we kind of taught that, I feel like, in our society to like not think about us, not to neglect ourselves. And me and Iman talked about this on other episodes where it's just like make money, work, grind, hustle. That's it. Like, and if the whole reason we started the show is because that's the definition of success in our culture. That's the tone. That's what we're bombarded with constantly. And me and Iman wanted to define success for ourselves and not be so caught up in that. Like everything's just about chasing this dollar. Like some people would say, well, like what you said earlier, well, if I got a commercial or I got a movie, then that would be success to them, which is fine. But when that stuff is over, you still gonna be with you. You still only gonna go home with yourself, by yourself. And I feel like that part is so important that you said, like, you've mastered that. Like, not mastered it, but you're conscious of that. And you know, like that stuff is great, but it doesn't, you will always be chasing that if that was what you needed to feel success.
Right. And you know what's crazy? Even in this like return to me pursuing my acting career, like my whole approach to it is different. Like before, like you said, it was all about, yo, I need to get on, yo. Like I need to, you know what I mean? I need to be this A-list. But now when I be in there, I'll be really like, this is for me. This is because I enjoy acting. You know what I'm saying? I'm allowing myself to fail, to play, to make mistakes, find new discoveries. Like it's purely for me. And because of that, I'm becoming a much better actor. You know what I'm saying? I'm no longer, because the best acting is reacting. You know what I'm saying? I felt like even after high school, I was performing. You know what I'm saying? Now I feel like I'm at a stage in my art that I'm reliving. You know?
Yeah. It's coming from you're more, it sounds more like it's about the art. It's about
more genuine.
Yeah, and it's not about the career aspect of it or the business part of it. And that's the money part, which we like. But I feel like it's important to enjoy the process too.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. It sounds like the motivation is coming from internal as opposed to external factors, which I think is that's a big shift when you think about like what you're pursuing. Because the external, like Selena said, is temporary and it can be here today, gone tomorrow. Whereas that internal work that you're doing, like that's always going to be there.
Yeah.
So switching gears a little bit, what is something that you hope people say about you when you're not in the room?
Wow, that's a good question. I made them laugh. Okay. Or at least smile. Yeah.
Don't downplay his answer.
Downplaying it, but Mitchell's always trying to. He always teaches lessons and like tries to help you get to a deeper part of yourself. That's what I get from our conversations. Oh, wait, am I the funny one when we talk? Is that why?
I feel like we both. I feel like all right. She be giving sermons too, though. Don't let her. So, but in the midst of it, there's fun, there's laughter.
Yeah.
Well, that's the whole show. That's this whole show.
Right, exactly. So that's what I'm saying. Like, you know, I feel like I want that to be said about me when I'm not in the room. Like, yo, funny shit. Like,
that you want that over the, sorry, Iman said, he said what he said.
He said.
Why are you trying to fight me on this?
I know. Someone was like, well, you were supposed to say.
No, not supposed
Let
to.
Mitchell be Mitchell.
But I feel like when he's in a room, he is shedding light on something, just like the book. Like it's the light. So I just think that's not the right answer.
Listen, remember the movie Mary Poppins?
Yeah.
Remember, a spoonful of sugar helps the medicine go down.
Okay.
So that's like my whole thing. Like I want to give people medicine, but I don't want them to know they're getting medicine. So I'd much rather the initial thought like, yo, funny, and then later on you contemplate what I was saying, like, oh shit, damn, that nigga's deep though. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
The humor is the thing that you want to stick.
Yeah, the humor is the introduction to your heart. And once I got your heart open, I mean, then I'm gonna drop the.
That's the real answer. There you go. Put no damn humor. You're here lying, child.
I'm being so honest. Like that really, I'm really speaking. All right, whatever.
You want people to laugh so you can get in there and then give them the medicine. That's the only reason you want them to laugh.
All right,
let him give his answer.
Thank you.
Now I'm bullying our guests.
Can you tell who the aggressive one is in terms of our in our friendship?
That's Selena. She's soft though. She's so soft.
Yeah.
All right, you got to tell my business thing.
I already know that though.
Well, but not the listeners. Like I think I'm tough, you know.
Y'all gonna edit that part out?
I don't know. Who knows? I never know what's gonna get edited out. But I know I can't have any more people on here from Baltimore because I don't know how to act. I don't usually act like this on shows. I'm out here acting a fool.
Oh man.
So now it's me asking a question. All right. So we're winding down, even though we just wound up. I should have had a schedule for longer, but everybody got stuff to do. So what's your biggest, what's the piece of advice you would give listeners about anything? Like what's the biggest piece of advice if you could only give somebody one little dose of medicine?
Everything you see ain't what it is. Like, don't base your life off of what other people are doing and how they living, or even what they're saying. Like, really follow your heart. Because if you get caught up in that, then you're never going to be yourself. You're never going to be happy. And that's why I told you I haven't been on social media. Because for the longest time, I was really comparing myself to other people and feeling bad about, like, you know, what I have and what I don't have. I just feel like a lot of us are stuck in that treacherous perspective of basing success off of other people's illusions. You know? So yeah, that's what it is, man. I feel like that's what it all boils down to. What's a great foundation to start from?
Yeah. When you say things like, I'm not responding because I'm taking it in. I took notes on our last call.
I have to say, y'all look so pretty, both of you guys.
Oh, thanks.
Oh, thanks. No, I was gonna say that's such a good point, especially when it comes. Me and Selena have talked about social media a lot of times on here, but it's like I feel like there's so much comparison, and people are only showing their good moments. And there's so many people, you look at their page that I know personally, and it's like, oh, they're living the life, they're having an amazing time, but then they're miserable, like when you know them on a personal level. So I think it's so easy to kind of misconstrue that as like, oh, this is what everyone's life, and everyone's just having a great time and doing this. And it's like, that's really all just a facade and just what they want you to see. You know?
All of us dealing with the same shit.
Yeah. Oh, and it's the other part of this is way off subject, but the other part of social media is what I realize now. Most people are on there venting too. If they're not showing you how perfect they are, they on there venting about something. It's like, man, I don't need this. Like, they're on there talking about politics or the pandemic or something. Like, it's turn it into like just this show off or venting. Does that make sense?
I think that you gotta let people vent though. You
No,
got
I know, but it's like, I don't need that. Like you said, write it in your text and your notes and keep that. Make
well, Selena, you don't have to follow them.
I know, but I'm just saying, like on my popular page, it's like, all right, fine. It's not all just people I follow, you know, you don't have social media, you don't know, but they have a popular page.
I'm just not going, I just can't, I know that people be killing themselves out here, yo.
No, that
and
is
they be
true.
needing to get that shit out. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. So, right. Okay. And not to get
I love you, Selena. I love you.
not to get too dark, but that is the number 2 cause of death in America right now. So it's a real serious issue. But no, what you said about, I took a week off of social media, and when I go back on there,
Yeah,
it's just nonsense. And like y'all said, it's just what people want you to see. And it's so easy to compare yourself. I even do it, not to like, I compare myself to people like, oh, they out, I want to go out, I want to go on a trip.
Yeah.
Like, and I wasn't even thinking about that. Like,
right. Right. Or like, like I'll be fasting from sex, and then I, see all these like 20 different badass chicks on there. You know what I'm saying? And then like,
booties
I'm
out.
this game again. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm glad I'm not a guy. That would be tricky. That would be very tricky. What were you going to say, man?
And I was going to switch gears. Did you have a follow-up question?
Mm-mm.
Okay. So one of the things we talked about is just like who we surround ourselves with and how important that is. You said that you're out there solo dolo, but I'm sure you still have like a circle of people that you kind of
or standards.
know?
Standards.
Okay.
You want to see my friends?
Well, okay, so
what do you want your list?
I have plants.
All right.
Those are my friends.
Hypothetically, if somewhere were to want to be in your inner circle, or like, yeah, in your inner circle, what traits would they have to have?
They would have to be fun. They have to be ambitious. Like to eat. And just, kind and loving.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
What can't they have? What's deal breakers?
I don't like people who get angry easily.
Okay.
I don't like people who are constantly judging other people, or lying.
Mm-hmm.
So some deal breakers for sure.
Yeah, I think honestly, if you can avoid those things, judging, lying, and being angry all the time, like I can pretty much fuck with you, yo. Like we good. I mean, I don't know. There's different levels of friendships, but like that's a great space for us to potentially have a future together or do some business together.
Yeah. Okay. I don't know how I would know somebody was lying. Go ahead, Iman.
You can know when people lying.
Yeah. After a while.
Liars. Especially now, like the age we are now, like it's like a radar. Like,
or people that like over exaggerate everything.
Yeah.
That's what I consider.
Nobody like that.
Straight up. Well, yeah, because you're protective of your like who you surround yourself with.
Yeah, my circle like Mitchell, some plants, like 3 people. My plants don't be lying, shoot.
Right.
I had a follow-up question, and you can decide not to answer it or not. But so I don't know you obviously that much, but I feel like you seem like you're very extroverted and like you have this energy about you. So when you say like I'm solo dolo or my like circle is small, is that like by choice, or is it just because you've like kind of moved around?
Great question. Okay. I am an extrovert.
Yeah, I get that.
And it's like by choice, I decided to be an introvert just for a while because what I told you, the things I wanted to work on. Mm-hmm. And I've realized that I needed a lot of work. And then a lot of stuff that I was discovering in the course of relationships, like me being alone, gave me the opportunity to solidify it, to really like bring it in, make it me. You know what I'm saying? And in that process, my values have changed. My appreciation of myself has changed. So there's people in my life that, you know, I dealt with, but then like, you know, as I've evolved and found better appreciation of myself, I'm like, yo, no, you don't deserve me. I gotta let you go. Yeah. And a lot of people got cut off, and my tolerance, because I've always been the one that like, I give you 3 chances, always been that guy. But like you said, like life kind of wears you down, wears you out a little bit, where like now I don't have that tolerance no more. Like, you know what I'm saying? I would see people for who they were, hope for the best, hoping that, okay, maybe I'll bring a better part of them out of themselves. Or if I love them enough, you know, it might, y'all don't have time for it no more. So I just kind of like I stated myself, women, you know, dudes that really that aren't conducive to who I want to become or where I want to go in life, I don't fuck with them no more. And I tell my friends all the time, y'all my friends. My kids be like, yo, you need to go out, Dad. You know what I'm saying? Like, you need to go have some fun. I'm like, y'all my friends. No, you need a girlfriend. You know what I'm saying? Like, so, but you know, God, the universe will bring those people in my life when it's time. I ain't tripping.
You're so picky.
I'm not picky.
Your standards.
Okay.
Right.
People can't make no mistakes. We're gonna have another show about you and how picky you are.
I disagree.
All right, cool. So we're running out of time. That's why I'm not gonna go into this. But if I had more time, I would. Well, I'm gonna do the interview for Mitchell, answer all his questions for him.
Like what he really meant to say was.
No, that ain't even true, y'all. So I'm but so yeah, this went really fast. We have a lot of questions, but
I've been enjoying this.
Good, you have?
Yeah, man, y'all dope, man. Y'all got something good going on over here, man.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
You have to come back on the show when we have more time. And I'm usually more professional. I didn't know I was going to act like a little kid when you came on the show.
No, I don't think anything's wrong. Like, this is your personality. I think
I usually don't show it this much.
It's fun. It's a great dynamic between the two of you guys. Even when I was listening to you sent me the clip, perfect balance. You know, it's perfect.
Iman has sense. I don't. That's
on the calm before the storm.
When's your birthday, Mom?
February 6th. It just passed.
So happy birthday. It just passed.
Mm-hmm.
Dang, happy birthday.
Thank you. What's your sign? What's your birthday?
I'm a Libra. September 23rd. But
a date earlier. Libra, Virgo, cuss.
Right, date, yeah, I would have been a Virgo.
See, I'm gonna answer his questions. You don't know. You don't even know what's on
there. You need to have this on the phone, on the call.
We don't even. You just sit there. I got it. He's not even a Libra.
I am a Libra. I am a Libra.
All right, whatever. But yeah, we're gonna close out. Do you have anything else?
No, I don't have anything else. I love you guys. I truly appreciate you too. I think it's beautiful what you're doing. You're off to something great, and I pray that, you know, much success, that you guys keep going, you know, just keep going.
Thank you. I appreciate that. We're going to do a little closeout, a little outro. So thank you, Mitchell, for sharing your time with us and inspiring our listeners to redefine success for themselves. Remember, you can find Mitchell's book, Born Behind Bars, on Amazon or Barnes & Nobles. And we will have a link in the show notes.
And thank you, listeners. We couldn't do this without you. Remember to hit like, comment, share this episode, leave a review. We always want to hear your feedback at U+ Happy Podcast. And we're also available on YouTube and Instagram at U+Happy.
We'll see you next week, same time, same place. And we ask our guests to say our tagline, which is, it's very long, but you used to memorizing stuff. You ready?
Got this.
We're gonna say it together.
No, you saying it. I'm gonna tell you what it is, and then you say it.
Okay.
You got it? We'll show you our definition of success if you show us yours.
We'll show you our definition of success if you show yours.
Show us yours. Yep.
Close enough. Close enough.
Got a little acting in the day. All right, Mitchell, thank you so much for being on.
Yeah,
All right, no problem. Anytime. I can't wait to come back.
All right. Bye.